For all of the cool superheroes out there in the pages of Marvel and DC, for all your favorites, there's a relationship they've been in that is weirder than anything you can ever imagine. A romance wilder and weirder than you could comprehend, or in most cases, appropriately cringe at. That's right folks, it's time to buckle up and join the cringe train. I'm Ewan, this is What Culture Comics, and here are the 10 weirdest romantic superhero relationships. Number 10. Cyclops and Madeline Pryor. Starting off, we have one of the most infamous relationships in X-Men history, and given the soap-level drama of the comic reads like an irradiated fusion of Dallas and Neighbours, that's no small claim. The history of Madeline Pryor is a bit janky and dumb. Incredibly dumb, but I'm gonna do my best to explain it now. Following one of Jean Grey's many deaths, Cyclops decides to travel to Alaska to hang out with his grandparents. While there, a woman who looks pretty much like an exact carbon copy of Jean Grey appears, calling herself Madeline Pryor. Now, any other person in this situation would probably stop a second and realize this is pretty sus. But not Cyclops. He decides to marry Madeline, have a child with her, and retire from the X-Men shortly afterwards. Cyc does not have a good time while not being an X-Man anymore, and his marriage with Madeline encounters difficulties. Then, when he finds out that Jean is actually really totally for real alive, he skips town immediately in order to pick up where the two of them left off. Anywho, it's later revealed that Madeline was a clone created by Mr. Sinister. She then becomes the Goblin Queen and decides to make Scott's life a living hell. And well, given what happened between the two of them, can you really blame her? Number 9. Hal Jordan and ARISIA RRAB. Whew, right, so, Hal Jordan. Pretty stand-up guy, right? Okay, well, he's a bit of a stick in the mud, and definitely not my favourite GL or anything, but whatever. He's a hero, and one who should behave as such. Well, that hasn't often proven to be the case in the comics, and while you could maybe count him going full parallax on the universe being his greatest offense, this is also pretty up there. In the original Green Lantern Corps series from writer Steve Englehart, there was a character called ARISIA RRAB. ARISIA was a young teen who crushed big time on Hal, who started off doing the sensible thing and was like, no, please, just no. But then ARISIA went and used her ring to physically age herself up, and Hal was like, lol, okay, and then they hooked up and became a couple. Yeah. This would remain the case for 2 whole years until they broke up in Action Comics number 620. Truly, there are not enough yikes in the world to describe how bad this was. Number 8. Batman and Talia al Ghul. Batman is a character obsessed with ridding the streets of Gotham of all crime and making it so no one is ever hurt. Talia al Ghul is the daughter of the leader of an assassin's guild and herself one of the most deadly people on Earth. At many points in movies, games, and comics, she tries to destroy Gotham, if not the world. Together though, the two of them had one of the longest and weirdest relationships of either of their lives. The two fought, kissed, broke up, and met up more and more often, eventually resulting in a child named Damian Wayne after Talia essentially violated Bruce. He was raised super fast and eventually became the newest Robin. Which means that the relationship between Batman, the literal Cape Crusader, and Talia al Ghul, heir to the League of Assassins, will exist forever. As separated parents. Hey, you could have it a lot worse. Number 7. The Thing and Sue Storm. The Ultimate Universe is one of the weirder places in comics. Everything in the Ultimate U is darker, stranger, and harder, with Peter Parker's Spider-Man dying only a few years into his career, and Captain America oddly hating France a whole lot. Here, the Fantastic Four actually split, with Reed Richards eventually becoming a bad guy known as the Maker. Alongside Joni, Sue Storm teamed up with Ben Grimm and a redeemed Doctor Doom to become the new Fantastic Four, who on occasion fought against evil Reed Richards, as well as low sales figures. Oof. The strangest thing in all those comics though was still the fact that Ben Grimm and Sue Storm actually got together. It's an odd relationship, granted, but it kind of makes some sense. What's weirdest about it all is that no other comic had done it before the Ultimate Universe. It adds an interesting and sad layer to the original Fantastic Four's relationship. Number 6. Gwen Stacy and Green Goblin. Gwen Stacy's death at the hands of the Green Goblin is one of the most striking and memorable events in all of comics history. But proving that nothing is sacred when it comes to superheroes, a comic released decades after the night Gwen Stacy died revealed that she and the Green Goblin were totally getting it on. Yeah, when Stacy left Peter at college, which she does shortly before returning and biting the big one, turns out she was heading abroad to get nasty with the Green Gobbo. Because who wouldn't date a man with hair like that? Irresistible. The two of them even had kids, children who gained superpowers like their father and tried to kill Spider-Man. That's how we found out about this most horrifying of relationships. And yep, thanks, I hate it. Number 5. Deadpool and Lady Deadpool. Deadpool's main character trait is that he's into himself, and that he also breaks the fourth wall, and has a healing factor but also cancer, and shoots people. He is multifaceted. But it's that into himself thing we're dealing with here, because when you're as egotistical as Wade Wilson, wouldn't you just go gaga for another version of yourself? Only it wasn't exactly him. It was a Deadpool, basically the exact same as the Deadpool we all know and love, except this time the Deadpool was a woman. Her name was, creatively enough, Lady Deadpool. Their relationship is pretty one-sided, with Deadpool being completely into Lady Deadpool, but with her more consumed with whatever multiverse-destroying threat they were dealing with at the moment, although there are hints. The only weirder relationship would be Deadpool and Headpool, who is Deadpool but a zombie and also just a head, and yes, that is totally a real thing. Number 4. Superman and Wonder Woman. To quote that most famous of Justice League episodes, Superman is a Man of Steel living in a world of cardboard. He tries so hard not to destroy anything, and it takes him so long to trust himself to even hug someone. And then there's Wonder Woman, similarly strong, but more than confident in her strength and control. The two meet, fighting to save the world, naturally. And so, in the New 52, they date, which, okay, makes a certain amount of sense, I guess. Both are big, strong superheroes in the same team, so having them date has some legs to it. But the two characters are so different that pairing them this way did nothing but make people feel just sort of mildly bemused, which kind of sums up the New 52 as a whole. When Supes and Wendy dated, the most people wanted to know was when it would be over. It was another random attempt from the New 52 to divest from the old, and needless to say, it wasn't something many folks warmed to. Number 3. Batgirl and the son of Penguin. Yeah, did you know that the Penguin had a kid? This entry wouldn't be on this list if we actually knew about the Penguin and his lover's relationship, because, look, we're not saying the Penguin doesn't deserve love, but since a recent issue of Batman implied he has sex with bird women, we'd just love to know a little bit more. Anyway, the Penguin has a kid, and he is surprisingly hot, ? So hot that Batgirl decides she needs some of that sweet bird action. The fact that he was also super rich and super smart and super cool, all of that probably didn't help. But the two slowly began a relationship which was spoiled by the fact that, whoa, Penguin's kid is a baddie. Yeah, turns out he's an evil genius who uses a tech suit and calls himself Black Sun. So, despite Batgirl's alter ego having a fun time dating Ethan Cobblepot, Batgirl needed to take the Penguin's weird nerd son down to Chicago. Which honestly is for the best, since this relationship made less sense than almost any of Batgirl's other relationships. Almost. Number 2. Batman and Batgirl. So yeah, Batman is the father of the Bat family. He is the one who lost his whole family only to found another one. The daughter of his best friend and closest ally, Jim Gordon, joined that family as Batgirl. Most versions of the Batman-Batgirl relationship feature her as an annoying niece who is too smart to ignore, or, at weirdest, the closest thing that Batman has to a sister or some other kind of relation. But then there was the animated adaptation of The Killing Joke, and there was Batman Beyond 2.0, both of which reside in the corner of my mind I like to call the Cursed Dimension. This movie, about Barbara Gordon being paralyzed by the Joker, features an extended sequence telling the tale of Batman and Batgirl's romantic entanglement, which is weird and creepy for so many reasons. The age difference, his oddly paternal role over her, the fact he's best friends with her dad, and the fact it wasn't even in the bloody comic in the first place. Ugh, the Killing Joke movie is just a big old anticlimax of grot, and the Bruce-Babs relationship typifies what it all got wrong. Things were similarly weird in the DCAU, where Babs hinted her love for Bruce in Mystery of the Batwoman, despite being college age and dating Dick Grayson before. The totally not DCAU canon, but sort of tries to be Batman Beyond 2.0, shows that not only did the two have a relationship, Batgirl got pregnant. It's the weirdest, most sexually odd Batman story ever, which is really saying something. Don't worry about the Bat Baby though, Barbara Gordon miscarried it while Bruce told Dick what he had done, because truly, readers had not been scarred enough by the ordeal already. And number 1, Hulk and Black Widow. The Hulk and Black Widow is a slash pairing that even the weirdest of super nerds hadn't thought of. But then came along Age of Ultron and that relationship was dragged into the popular consciousness kicking and screaming. Because would it truly be a Joss Whedon movie without the Whedon self-insert getting smoochy time with a stunning lady? Thankfully, it's faded since that movie's release, with the pair barely getting a single scene together in either Infinity War or Endgame, but the fact remains that, for a while, two Avengers were romantically entwined, and it was the Hulk and Black Widow. Why? At what point did those two go, hey, we have a lot in common, wanna get drinks? The two look like they've never been in the same room together. They look like they're from different direct-to-DVD film franchises. And like, you could have literally waited and done Black Widow and Bucky if you wanted. Or Hawkeye. Literally anything was better than this. Ugh. And those were just 10 of the weirdest superhero relationships ever. We missed a few obvious ones off here because we have talked about them to death, but shout out your most despised comic book couples down in the comments below. I've been Ewan, and I will hopefully, if I haven't scarred you forever, see you next time. Bye!